Hi everyone, I'm Linh from Group 1. Today we will present about making decisions and it is our content. Firstly, describe 8 steps in the decision making process. Secondly, we will explain the 4 ways managers make decisions. Thirdly, classify decision and decision making conditions. Then describe different decision making styles and discuss how biases affect decision making. Finally, identify effective decision making techniques. And now I'm going to talk about eight steps in the decision making process. In step 1, identify a problem. A problem is an obstacle which makes that difficult to achieve a goal or purpose. In step 2, identify decision criteria. Decision criteria are factors that are important to solving the problem. And in step 3, allocate weight to the criteria. If the relevant criteria are not equally important, the decision maker must weigh the items in order to give them the correct priority in the decisions. And in step 4, develop alternatives. List out viable alternatives that can solve the problem. And in step 5, analyze alternatives, appraising the alternative's strengths and weaknesses. Step 6, select an alternative, choosing the best alternative. The alternative with the highest total weight is chosen. And in step 7, implement the alternative, putting the chosen alternative into action. In the last step, evaluate decision effectiveness. The soundness of the decision is judged by its outcome.
So, hello everyone, my name is Như and I'm gonna talk about making decision. So, managers can make effective decision by understanding cultural differences in decision making, knowing when it's time to call it quits, using an effective decision making process, and building an organization that can spot the unexpected and quickly adapt to the changed environment. An effective decision making process has totally 6 steps. First is focus on what's important. Second is logical and consistent. Third is knowledge, both subjective and objective thinking, and blends both analytical and intuitive approaches. Fourth is requires only enough information as is necessary to resolve a problem. Next is encourage and guides gathering relevant information and informed opinions. And finally is straightforward, reliable, easy to use and flexible. The 5 habits of highly reliable organization are: first, not being tricked by their successes; second, deferring to experts on the front line; third is letting unexpected circumstances provide the solution; and fourth is embracing complexity. Finally is anticipating but also recognizing limits. Design thinking is approaching management problems as designer approach design problems. It can be useful when identifying problems and when identifying and evaluating alternatives.
Hi, I'm Mun, and first I'm going to classify decisions and decisions making conditions. After that, I'm going to talk about different style in decision making and its error and bias. Okay, let's begin. In organizational environments, there are many numbers of decisions that a manager has to make and implement in his organization. The type of decisions depends on the nature of the problem and can be classified into 2 types. The first one is program decisions, and the second one is non-program decisions. A program decisions can be defined as a routine approach to handle a repetitive decisions. These decisions are often used when there are problems that is simple and familiar. The goal is clear and easily defined. This kind of problems are called structural problems. For example, late delivery or deciding the workers for the next shift. In this type of problems, the decision maker has definite objectives and the best alternative has already been established. These decisions are made routinely and can be grouped together as a protocol for handling a particular situation. Program decisions do not require analysis of problem and assessment of alternatives. Moreover, program decisions can be further classified into three types: procedure, a series of sequential steps used to respond to a well-structured problems; rule, an explicit statement that tells the manager what can be done or cannot be done; and policy, a guideline for making decisions. Unlike rule, a policy establishes general parameters for the decision maker rather than specifically stating what can or cannot be done. The second type of decisions is non-program decisions. Non-program decisions are unique decisions that require a custom-made solution and are used when the problems are new or unusual unstructured problems, and for which information is ambiguous and incomplete. Okay, now let's talk about the condition. There are three conditions in decision making: certainty, a situation in which a manager can make accurate decisions because all outcomes are known. The second is risk, a situation in which a manager can estimate the likelihood of certain outcomes. And the last one is uncertainty, a situation in which the manager has neither certainty nor reasonable probability estimated available. Now let's move to different styles in decision making. There are two styles: linear thinking style and non-linear thinking style. For people who use linear thinking style, they are more about logical. They prefer using external data and processing those information through rational and logical thinking. And for people who use non-linear thinking style, they prefer internal source of information and processing those information with internal insights, feelings, and hunches. Of course, there are errors and bias. There are 12 error and bias: overconfident, holding unrealistically positive views of oneself and one's performance; immediate gratification is when a manager choosing alternatives that offer immediate rewards and avoid immediate costs; anchoring effect is when the manager fixating on initial information and ignoring subsequent information; selective perception bias is when a manager selecting, organizing, and interpreting events based on the decision maker's biased perceptions. Confirmation bias is when the decision makers seeking out information that reaffirm past choices while discounting contradictory information. Framing bias is when managers selecting and highlighting certain aspects of a situation while ignoring other aspects. Availability bias is when a manager losing decision-making objectivity by focusing on the most recent events. Randomness is when the manager creating unfound meaning out of random events. Representation is when the manager drawing analogies and seeing identical situations when none exist. Sunk cost errors is when the manager forgetting that current actions cannot influence past events and relate only to future consequences. Self-serving bias is when the decision makers taking quick credit for successes and blaming outside factors for failures. And the last one is hindsight bias. It's when the manager mistakenly believing that an event could have been predicted once the actual outcome is known. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Ye. I will discuss two cases of the chapter 2. The first one is Bloomberg Business Week has identified the Coca-Cola company as the number one best global brand. Decision-making is playing a crucial role in cost as managers try to beat rival Mexico. Thirdly, management to grow that simply orange juice business is an unstructured decision because being able to expand an industry that depends on weather conditions to produce unnecessary growth is unstable year to year. So the decision will be adjusted according to external factors. The structured decision would be the altruism due to keep consistency with each carton of orange juice, since the altruism can be applied to each carton of orange juice. Secondly, the Black Book has kept Coke managers and employees on the top of their games during decision making because it considers over 600 different variables within its calculation and thus simplifies the decision making process and more powerful. It helps them to blend batches of juice as well as street recipe. Thirdly, Coke goal to produce high quality consistent products all year round. It makes easier by having the Black Book thinking capabilities. But to you at the process of making orange juice require 1 quintillion decisions. Finally, revenue analytics is a set of decision support tools that help finance and contracting professionals make informed decisions based on reliable insights. This helps managers make better decisions because it works to the overall goal of increasing revenues by selling the product at the right price. Moves to the second one. Baseball has long been called America's national pastime, the favorite sport of the Americans. The coach of the team had to collect much data like an opponent player for analyzing to make a better decision to help the team to win. Also, the coaches rely on heuristics to decide when the match on the minute. Since this situation requires lots of self-experience when a player has to handle the difficult situation, such as scoring goals for the team, the decision and structural problems are needed. But there are still case decisions are unstructured problems needed. For example, the coach sometimes has to consider who should be included in the squad to overwhelm the other team. The decisions of the coach also fail with either risk or uncertainty. CH strategy may not be as good as enemy strategy, or some external factors make the team can't gain victory. Certainly, it is appropriate for baseball managers to use only quantitative, objective criteria in evaluating their players, because the use of statistics as an analytical tool allows them to model baseball player history to better predict the future performance of new baseball players. Also, prevent themselves from bias. Well, sabermetrics is an empirical analysis of baseball, especially baseball statistics that measure in-game activity. Sabermetrics optimize the lineup and the way you play the game of baseball. It makes it easier for the manager to make a decision in the games. in the front office, executive, and the college coaches can use rational decision making to enhance their ball club by logical thinking, planning what player to play and what inner to put them to. Moreover, they can use balanced rationality decision making by what you call settling in decision. What I mean is, when it comes to baseball, they may hire a player that is worth $2 million instead of a player that is worth $5 million, and that can play a whole lot better than the person that is worth $2 million. See, this is settling. Furthermore, coaches can also use intuition decision making when it comes to college coaches and executives in the game of baseball. They use their intuition in finding players they think that would make the team success. Finally, I think there will be too much information in managing information, such as review performance of the player, comment of the supporter or fans, and it will give negative effect for managing organization because they will face hundreds of pages of training material to review and work expected to do extensive data interpretation and analysis. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone. So now I will go to the part management practice and answer the questions with you guys. The first paragraph is about the Deutsche Telekom company. There's one special thing about this company is that other companies all around the world, it prioritize men over women for good performance. However, Deutsche Telekom, they want to recruit more female university graduates. So the first question is, what issues might Deutsche Telekom face in recruiting female university graduates? The answer is that they would face how to compromising skilled male graduates and attracting female talent. How could it address those issues? Deutsche Telekom would overcome this issue by doubling the number of women who are managers within 5 years, and they also planned to increase the number of women in senior and middle management to 30%. The third question is, what issues might it face in introducing changes in work-family programs, and how could it address those issues? By introducing work-family programs, it causes additional cost for added benefits, and the company goal is at least 30% in executive development programs, and by women, other steps taken by the company revolve around the word family issues. What do you think of Alberman's statement that having a greater number of women at the top will enable the company to cooperate better? I agree with this statement, because when there are more women at the top, it would increase the confidence and also improve the quality, and organizational goal will be accomplished. So what could other companies learn from the Deutsche Telekom? I think that they would learn that they should give women proper chance to prove themselves with the seat of manager. So now we will go to the continuing case, which is Starbucks. The first, Starbucks is a very famous coffee shop all around the world, and in the beginning it was not that kind of popular. So there is such a big change in
change in Starbucks thanks to Howard Schultz. The first question is that what management skills do you think would be most important for Howard Schultz to have? Why? What skills do you think would be most important for a Starbucks store manager to have and why? So my answer is Howard Schultz need to have three strong skills, which is technical skills, human skills, and conceptual skills. And because he is a CEO, so the conceptual skills helps Schultz make strategic plans that guide the global growth of Starbucks, make it more popular in the world, predict the future product trends, and take advantage of opportunities in external environments. As a store manager, people need to have those three skills as well, and especially the human skills because they have to interact with more people, and by using human skill they would effectively utilize their most valuable resources, which is human beings, understand their employees to achieve the corporation as a whole. The second question is that how might the following management theories approaches to be useful to Starbucks: scientific management, organizational behavior, quantitative approach, systems approach? My answer is that the scientific management is would be useful for Starbucks because as we can see in the paragraph, Starbucks managers analyze the basic work tasks that must be performed. They use time and motion study to eliminate wasted motions, hire the best qualified workers for the job, and design incentive systems based on output, which is similar to the definition of scientific management. Choose three of the current trends and issues facing managers and explain how Starbucks might be impacted. What might be the implications for the first line managers, middle managers, or the top managers? So my answer is that there are several challenges that managers do face. One challenge is finding the right talent for the right job, starting from the top manager. The second challenge is that finding opportunities for the business to grow. The last challenge is managing labor benefit costs. They have to be able to trim benefits and cut off the staff. Some employees may end up working more hours. This could cause a turnover, and however, as a manager of all levels, they have to be prepared for any possibility of recession in the economy. That's all.
Today I will present how Howard Schultz had totally managed the Starbucks and he had changed Starbucks into a big coffee brand like today. So he has placed as the interpersonal roles, the informational roles, and decisional roles. Like he had to connect his people inside and also outside organization, and to influence their members to contribute and develop the organization, and also make the big decision that can change the company. However, this philosophy is this is people business serving coffee. They're just not serving coffee to make profit of it, but also but more than that, they serve people. They are in the customer service industry, and the main goal is to a great customer service with the great coffee. And the manager I want to talk about is Lucy Lee Ham, who's Executive Vice President and also a Chief Partner Officer. whose work I think is to communicate and develop partnership with other partners and organizations. Their missions and values is to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighbor at the time. They are challenging the status of finding new ways to grow the company and each others. Being present, connecting with transparency, dignity, and respect. Starbucks have specific goals in mind. Manager who would be more likely to make operational decisions with a mixed attitude decisions. It's important to make manager to think rationally, keeping in mind these specific goals in order to maximize value. For example, store managers may use intuitive decision based on their knowledge or their past experience. The condition of risk is the Starbucks establishment is located in the neighborhood, and the customer have a request to wipe their store. Or their flavor is not suitable for the customer, and condition of uncertainty is to opening a new Starbucks location is in uncertain, uncharted area may be an example of a decision made under condition of uncertainty. I think Harvard Square have not like others thinking style is to make decision with he based on how that people based on the character of the people and their insights, their feelings.